Eben Etzebeth is about to do something no Springbok has ever done in 134 years of South African rugby. 150 test caps. The most capped Springbok in history is chasing a milestone that seemed impossible just a few years ago. He's already at 141, 9 away from history. And Victor Matfield, the legendary former lock who held the record before Eben, just said, quote, he'll easily get to 150. This is Springbok greatness on a level we've never seen. The enforcer, the warrior, the man who refuses to stop. And in 2026 alone, he's got 11 tests to add to his tally. Let me tell you why this is insane. 150 caps means 150 times wearing the green and gold, 150 times running out for your country, 150 times facing the best teams in the world, and Eben will be the first South African to ever reach it. Not Joost van der Westhuizen, not Brian Habana, not John Smit, not even Victor Matfield, who everyone thought was untouchable. Eben Etzebeth, the 2-meter-tall giant who's been terrorizing opponents since 2012. 14 years of dominance. If you're not subscribed right now, you're missing historic Springbok moments like this every single day. Hit that subscribe button right now, because Eben's journey to 150 is just getting started, and you do not want to miss a single cap. Do it now. Here's the current situation. Eben has 141 caps. That's already the most capped Springbok ever. He passed Victor Matfield's 127 caps back in 2024. Since then, he's added 14 more, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. At 34 years old, most players are thinking about retirement. Eben is thinking about records. He's thinking about how many more years he can dominate. That's the mentality of a legend. Now let's talk about the math to get to 150. Eben needs 9 more caps, just 9, and in 2026 alone, he's got 11 tests scheduled, 7 Nations Championship games plus 4 against the All Blacks. If he plays all 11, he hits 152. If he plays 10 out of 11, he still hits 151. The milestone is happening this year. Not maybe, not possibly, definitely. Unless something catastrophic happens, Eben Etzebeth will become the first 150 cap Springbok in 2026. Here's what Victor Matfield said, and this is massive validation. Quote, he'll easily get to 150. The way Eben looks after himself, the way he plays, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes even further. Victor Matfield, the guy who was the record holder, the guy who everyone thought would never be caught, he's saying Eben will blow past 150. That's the ultimate respect from one legend to another. That's acknowledging that Eben has taken the position to a new level. Let me break down Eben's incredible durability. Since his debut in 2012, he's had an 86% appearance rate. That means he plays in almost 9 out of every 10 tests. For a forward, for a lock who's in the most physical battles every single game. Most locks are lucky to hit 70 or 75%. Eben is at 86. That's not luck. That's preparation. That's recovery. That's taking care of your body like a professional. That's why he's still dominating at 34. Now here's the global context that makes this even more impressive. Currently, the world record for most capped player is held by Alan Wynne Jones from Wales with 158 caps. Then Sam Whitelock from New Zealand with 152. Then a bunch of Irish and Welsh players in the 140s, and then Eben at 141. He's 4th in the world right now and climbing. By the end of 2026, if he plays all 11 tests, he'll be at 152. That puts him 2nd in the world behind Alan Wynne Jones, a Springbok in the top 2 most capped players ever. Let's talk about what makes Eben special beyond just the numbers. It's not just playing the games, it's dominating them. Eben at 34 is still one of the best locks in world rugby. He's still starting for the Springboks. He's still making crucial tackles. He's still winning lineouts. He's still intimidating opponents. Most players at 141 caps are past their prime. Eben is still in his prime. That's what separates legends from super legends. Here's the financial context that shows his value. Eben earns approximately 16.7 million rand per year. That makes him the second highest paid Springbok behind only Handré Pollard. Why would South Africa pay him that much if he wasn't worth it? Because he's irreplaceable. Because he's the enforcer. Because he's the guy opponents fear. You can't put a price on that. And at 34, he's still worth every cent. Make sure you're subscribed because we're tracking every cap on the road to 150. Tomorrow's video breaks down which games Eben will play in 2026. You can't miss this historic journey. Subscribe now. Now let's talk about the timeline to 150. July. England, Scotland, Wales at home. 3 games. That takes Eben to 144. August, September. 4 tests against the All Blacks, 4 wars. That takes him to 148. November, Italy, France, Ireland in Europe, 3 war. That's 151 by the end of the year. History made. And if there's a finals weekend in the Nations Championship, that could push him to 152 or even 153. The man is going to obliterate the record. Here's what makes Eben's achievement even more impressive. He's doing this in the modern era. Rugby is more physical than ever. Players are bigger, faster, stronger. The collision impacts are brutal, and yet Eben keeps showing up, keeps performing, keeps dominating. Compare that to players from the amateur era who racked up big cap numbers when the game was slower and less intense. Eben is doing it when rugby is at its most demanding. That's the difference. Let's compare Eben to the other greats who chased big numbers. Victor Matfield played until he was 38, retired with 127 caps. Eben is 34 with 141. John Smit played until he was 35, retired with 111 caps. Eben already has 30 more. Brian Habana retired at 33 with 124 caps. Eben has 17 more and is still going. The numbers don't lie. Eben is in a class by himself. Now, here's the question everyone's asking. Can Eben catch Alun Wyn Jones's world record of 158? That's 17 more caps after he hits 150. Is it possible? Let's do the math. 2027 World Cup year, probably 10 to 12 tests. That would take Eben to 162 or 164. So yes, if Eben plays through the 2027 World Cup, he will not only pass Alun Wyn Jones, he'll destroy the record. He could retire as the most capped player in rugby history. Here's what Rassie Erasmus is thinking about all this. Rassie loves Eben. Why? Because Eben is the ultimate professional, never complains, always available, always performs. That's the dream player for any coach. And Rassie knows that as long as Eben is fit and healthy, he's starting. There's no question about it. The Springboks are better with Eben on the field. And if Eben wants to chase 150 and beyond, Rassie will support him 100%. Let me tell you about the legacy Eben is building. 2 World Cups already, probably going for a 3rd in 2027. Most capped Springbok ever, potentially most capped player in history. One of the most feared enforcers the game has seen. That's first ballot Hall of Fame. That's statue outside the stadium territory. That's your name in the record books forever. And he's doing it all while representing South Africa with pride and passion. Here's the emotional side of this story. Eben has given everything to Springbok rugby, his body, his time, his life. For 14 years, he's been the warrior in the trenches, the enforcer who does the dirty work, the guy who intimidates opponents. And now he's getting his reward. Immortality. His name at the top of the all-time list forever. That's what happens when you dedicate yourself completely to your country. That's what legends are made of. Now, let's talk about what this means for young South African players. They're watching Eben and thinking, that's what I want to be. Not just talented, not just successful, but durable, consistent, excellent for 14 years. That's the standard Eben has set, and every young lock in South Africa is trying to follow his blueprint. That's leadership, that's influence, that's legacy, beyond just the numbers. Here's the challenge for opponents. Every team that faces South Africa in 2026 knows they're facing history. Every game could be the one where Eben hits 145 or 150 or 152. They'll be part of his story whether they like it or not. And you know Eben will be extra motivated. Every cap is taking him closer to immortality. That's dangerous for opponents. Let me paint the picture when Eben hits 150. Maybe it's against the All Blacks in September. Ellis Park packed with 60,000 fans. Eben walks out for his 150th test. The crowd erupts. The announcer reads out his achievement, 150 caps, first Springbok ever. Eben stands there, probably not showing much emotion because that's who he is, but inside he's feeling it. That's the moment. That's history being made. So let me recap this incredible story. Eben Etzebeth is chasing 150 caps. He's currently at 141, 9 away from becoming the first Springbok ever to reach it. Victor Matfield says he'll easily do it. 11 tests scheduled for 2026, 7 Nations Championship plus 4 All Blacks, 86% career appearance rate, 34 years old and still dominating. Second highest paid Springbok, 2 World Cups already, going for a third in 2027. Could become the most capped player in rugby history. This is greatness. This is legend status. This is Eben Etzebeth. The Springbok enforcer is writing history with every game he plays. 150 caps is coming in 2026. And after that, who knows how high he can go? Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're tracking every single cap on this historic journey. Drop a comment predicting which game Eben hits 150. The Giant marches toward immortality.